Good morning, everybody. It's the 4th of September 2025. And, well, Wednesday was an interesting day. We've got the Epstein survivors all speaking out. We've got gold to dollar changing. There's loads going on. And we're going to dive into the news right now. Warren, how you doing?
I am absolutely fine, doing better than, should I say, the dollar to gold at the moment. Shall we get into that, Paul? Because this is the global gold to the dollar. Let's have a little look at that. And there we are. There's your actual sheet there, as you can see, from 1901 right the way through to 2023. And of course, gold international reserves are literally, should we say, more people are wanting gold than they are the dollar, which is obviously causing a bit of a problem. And when we look at gold holdings, the gold holdings here, as you can see, foreign central banks are trading in gold against US treasuries. Now, US treasuries, of course, if people are stopped buying what you are selling, then we've got a problem.
It's amazing, Warren, isn't it? It's almost like it's by design. And Trump's talked about going back to a gold back standard. And all of a sudden, everyone's holding gold. No one's holding treasuries, debt. It's quite an interesting world we're living in. And as Charlie has said, we're moving forward. There is a reset happening before our eyes. Well, diving into my first story, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein are demanding more transparency. Speaking outside the US Capitol, 9 women shared harrowing stories of abuse and announced they are compiling a confidential list of Epstein associates. They urged the Justice Department to release all files, saying victims fear retaliation if they name names themselves. Lawmakers from both parties are pushing for a full disclosure vote, while critics accuse authorities of shielding the powerful. Survivors say this is not political, it's about justice for crimes of sex trafficking. Now, Warren, this is a great story. I
Yeah.
mean, when the survivors are speaking out, you've got to take this as truth. But there is an attorney working with them who is, dare I say it, questionable. So whether this is going to be twisted and used as political weapons, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Right. So, first of all, I think you're absolutely right. It shouldn't be used as a political weapon. It should be all about the victims. And there are people out there, powerful people, that are being protected. Now, let's not make any bones about it. They are being protected. It looks like a 12-year-old went loose with a Sharpie pen on the Epstein files and just redacted everything. Complete nonsense. We need to have total transparency because if these people are genuinely innocent, you can have them in. You can say, yes, their names are on the Epstein list, address book, whatever. And you can bring them in on the flight logs or the address book. And we've all seen the flight logs and the address book. So there's nothing really to hide here. So what are the State Department doing? I find it absolutely crazy. Bring them in. If they are literally above board, you can say we've investigated them. We can honestly say this person leaves our office without a stain on his character. But nobody is coming forward and saying, I went, I saw nothing. So there's something to see here.
Couldn't agree more, Warren. And I think it will all come out. But what I think Trump is doing is he's making the people want to know, you know. And I'm sorry, but us people, we've been sheeple for too long. We've been sitting there expecting everybody else to save us. He is now showing us that we need to save ourselves.
Yes,
That's it.
yep.
And what's your
There's,
next
there's,
story, Warren?
there's no white charger coming over the horizon. It's up to you. And the people are brilliant at doing so. Well, my next story is about the Andromeda. Now, this is the enduring story of 7 Ukrainians who decided to get drunk one night and go and blow up the Nord Stream pipeline. Now, as you can see, this is the Andromeda. So, first of all, you would need at least 22 feet just to put the oxygen decompression chamber on board the boat that you were using. Now, they had NATO military exercises there a week before the pipeline got blown up. There was a French spy ship literally in the vicinity, only a mile away when it did blow up. So obviously the charges were laid a week before. The nonsense that Germany and the mainstream media are coming out with about this boat. And we had an actual diver, a deep sea diver, speaking to us yesterday a gentleman called Louis Bastos, who is a subscriber to the show, and he was telling us all about how long you have to take at certain levels before you can come up. So you might do so many minutes at so many meters and everything else before you can actually surface. And the decompression chamber that they would need would be almost twice the size of what that boat is. And even if you went down in a diving bell, you would need an attachment to go from the diving bell to the decompression chamber, because obviously literally you're talking about two different pressures. And indeed, in the North Sea, we had somebody killed when one of those seals failed and blew them out of the airlock.
Wow. So we know this is a very bad cover story, don't we, Warren?
It's terrible. I mean, it's not even anybody who's believing that story that that 7 Ukrainians decided they were going to go along and blow up Nord Stream. I have a bridge to sell you.
Most definitely. Well, my next story, a new poll shows French President Emmanuel Macron facing his lowest approval since taking office in 2017. 8 in 10 French voters say they do not trust him, with only 15% offering support. Prime Minister Francois Bayrou fared no better, with trust in him at just 14%, as he pushes controversial austerity measures to tackle France's growing deficit. The survey also shows opposition leader Jordan Bardella gaining momentum, as frustration with the government sparks warnings of potential unrest across the country. Well,
Yeah.
Warren, I think we all know that this is all being done deliberately because, as Trump has showed us, you can find where all this money is going missing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got Bayrou sounding around saying we have to tighten our belts on austerity packages, and he's still sending money to the black hole that is Ukraine, which is about, let's face it, it's a money laundering scam. It is now. Everybody knows the war is over. It's just a case of how much money do you want to launder. Um, Something else that is very, very weird indeed. And in fact, there needs to be a full and thorough investigation. I would suggest not by German authorities, but candidates for the AfD. We started out with four of them in Westphalia dropping dead all within 13 days of the local elections. Four candidates dropped dead. Then it became six, Paul Brooker. Now it has become seven. The chances of this happening went from 55,000 to 1 up to very quickly up to 25 million to 1. Now it's in the high billions to 1. The chances of seven of their candidates dropping dead with it, who are on the ballot paper within 13 days, all in the same area, is almost, as the experts are saying, or the number crunchers are saying, non-existent. And there needs to be a full inquiry. There's no doubt whatsoever in my mind that the shall we say the circumstances of this are very, very shady indeed.
I mean, this is a scary thought. And is it showing us how desperate the deep state are to stay in control, that they're now panicking and taking out candidates? Or did they get a bad batch of vaccine and now it's all coming home to roost? Because a lot of them have died of heart attacks. Am I right in saying that?
They have, but here's the thing. I mean, the CIA and various organisations, shall we say, have been arranging heart attacks for many, many years. Seven candidates, all within the space of a month, within 13 days of the actual election. I've another bridge to sell you.
Yeah. But you know what? I think we are seeing some very, very big signs that things are not quite right in Germany right now.
Yes.
Well, my next story, the head of London's Metropolitan Police is calling for a review of the law after comedian Graham Linehan was arrested over online posts about trans people. Linehan, known for Father Ted and the IT crowd, was detained at Heathrow under the Public Order Act, but has not been charged. Met Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley said officers were between a rock and a hard place, policing online speech, and urged the government to clarify the law. The arrest has sparked a backlash, with politicians and free speech advocates questioning whether policing tweets is appropriate. Now, Warren, we talked about this off camera.
We did.
This is a comedian, and in the UK, we are known for not being politically correct with our comedians.
Yes.
But when you get off a plane, there's five police officers with guns waiting to meet you. What sign is that sending?
It's absolutely terrible. What it is sending the signal that the trans lobby has ultimate power in the police force, especially Stonewall. You go and look how they've infiltrated the police force. And don't be fooled by Mark Rowley asking for clarification. He's had his clarification. And the idea is anybody criticising trans, lock them up or fine them or do whatever you need to do, but shut them up. And of course, when we're talking about transgender, we're not talking about transsexuals who are very passive, just want to get on with their lives and do whatever they want. Transgenders, by nature, are incredibly aggressive. And of course, we have found out that 5 out of the last 6, and in fact, 8 out of the last 13 school shootings have come from transgender people. Now, here's the thing, Paul, and I will leave you with this. The very people who are pushing this ideology in our schools are the very people getting our children killed.
That's a very interesting thought there, Warren, because when you just said then 8 out of 13 shootings in America have been done by trans people, you can't ignore that. You
Yeah,
cannot ignore what is going on. We are at a point where we're letting the loonies run the asylum.
we are, and it's very much as they say, as was said by brilliantly by Anthony Hopkins in a fictional film called Silence of the Lambs, when he turned around and said that these people think they're transgender, but are actually not. Their psychopathy is far more savage, and that may be fiction, but the actual wording comes from an actual psychological study. So I think you're absolutely right. Somebody else who was a bit of a psychopath, Christine Lagarde, who is now, of course, in charge of the World Bank, an already known criminal. She does not want any elections whatsoever until Russia is defeated or the situation is resolved. So every single person who is in charge of a Russia-phobic state, this is her words, should remain in charge until the current crisis is over. So just to be absolutely clear here, Christine Lagarde, who wants Russia destroyed, has decided that she wants no one to be removed from office, no democracy whatsoever, until Russia is defeated.
Well, doesn't that sound like a mafia? All trying to keep their positions of power because, heaven forbid, times change and everyone goes, we've had enough, we want out.
Yeah. Watch this space.
Well, my next story, and it's a good news story. Federal authorities in Cincinnati have announced the breakup of an international drug ring responsible for supplying fentanyl and other deadly drugs. Operation Box Cutter resulted in 3 arrests in the US and indictments against 22 foreign nationals and 4 Chinese companies linked to drug manufacturing and distribution. FBI Director Kash Patel called it a new strategy targeting the companies behind lethal drug precursors, which have fueled America's opioid crisis. Authorities have also seized multiple kilograms of cocaine, methamphetamine, and other substances as part of a 3 year investigation. Is it me, or is Trump's administration actually trying to clean up the US?
It certainly looks that way, doesn't it? Because let's face it, the US needs, should we say, the gene pool in the US needs some clearing, needs some cleaning. We do need a little chlorine in the gene pool because the people who have been in charge of that area of things is quite shocking, and it is good to see some of these people who have done so much harm around the globe with their policies and everything else, finally getting some of, shall we say, the justice they really deserve. Would that be a fair assessment?
Oh, I think so, Warren. And we're seeing more and more now the corruption being exposed. We're seeing now people being brought to justice, which is fantastic because I'll tell you right now, the last 4 years, oh, they've been ropey.
Yes, absolutely. Talking of people wanting to be brought to justice, the Australians are going quite potty. Daniel Andrews, who is a former Victoria Labor Premier, earlier was filmed shaking hands with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now, he was invited to go along. He's very much an outspoken critic and thinks we should be getting along with Russia and China and everybody else. And he turned up and photobombed the parade by just edging into the picture top right. and of course, getting a photograph, and the whole of Australia is having a meltdown. Um, the Australian Premier and the offices and everybody, you didn't inform us you were going. It's not up to them. When did you last inform the Prime Minister you were going to somebody else's event, Paul Brooker?
That's it, isn't it? I think it's probably just egg on face that obviously the Australian Prime Minister didn't go himself.
Yes, and of course, as I say, the Australians are very much against the Chinese when it comes to this, and probably will be at the end of 2027. And of course, this is a huge embarrassment for them. But the guy has done nothing wrong. At the end of the day, he's a former, shall we say, state prem who wants to be, who thinks we should get along with him. And if he gets invited, why wouldn't you go? I'm telling you now, if I got invited by Xi Jinping to go to one of these, I'd turn up, no problem at all.
You would, wouldn't you? You really would.
Yeah,
Well, anyway,
absolutely.
on to my last story of the day. Former Drew delete. Former Brazilian president Jair Bolsonaro is facing the final phase of his coup plot trial. He and seven allies are accused of conspiring to overturn his 2022 election defeat to Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, including plans to assassinate rivals and pressure the military to intervene. Prosecutors say the scheme collapsed after failing to win armed forces backing. Bolsonaro, under house arrest in Brasilia, denies the charges, calling the case a witch hunt. The Supreme Court verdict is expected by September the 12th, and if convicted, he could face more than 40 years in prison.
Wow, that is quite crazy, isn't it? Of course, and people, I would say, how can I put it? If he faces that like amount of time in prison, that's going to be fairly. You're never coming out, are you?
No, no. He'll die in prison. But we all know what's Brazil isn't exactly the most, shall we say, democratic country.
No, no, it isn't. Once you're going inside for all day. Just to let you know, there's been a lot of chat in the Russia-Ukraine war. My final story is on Kupiansk. Now, of course, there has been showing the flag waving and everything else. It was a bit of a wind-up by the Russians, where a man just literally got very far inside Kupiansk and actually held up the Russian flag. The Ukrainians have responded as stupidly they have by sending lots of men into that area, and they've been killed. Now, the problem that they have is they sent 200 Azov to go and clear out any Russians that might be there, and they just walked into a hail of bullets. Not one of them survived, Paul.
Well, Warren, this is a story we're hearing time and time again coming out of Ukraine. Ukraine is falling. There's no hope that they're going to pull this back. The numbers just aren't in their favour. Well, that was the news on the 4th of September 2025. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you all over on charlieward.com, where you can join us live on the Insiders Club. We have guests such as the wonderful Mr. Warren Thornton himself and a whole host of others. And you can interact live, asking questions, finding out what's really going on, and the stuff that's too juicy for the mainstream media. So take care, God bless, see you all soon. Bye now.
Bye bye.